In previous videos we have refloored, framed, jacked, jammed, lined, gap-filled and painted walls and ceilings, restored and hung old doors, fitted the tricky angled scotia, finished the floors and the skirting boards for our fill-in veranda remodelling project. In this video we'll be finishing off the electrical, and because it's an older house, this proves to be quite a challenge. The next thing we need to finish off is the electrical. To start with, we'll do power outlets. We're going to fit this style. We like them because the screws go in there and then I'll strip on the cover. So you don't, it just makes it easier. In Australia we have these outlets with a switch on side by side, and we want to put one down about there. The next one will be replacing an old one in the walk-in robe that's seen better days. Behind this wall is the carport that already has power. The challenge here is the walls of our 130-year-old house were originally built with only one thickness of tongue and groove boards, with no cavity to run cabling. They didn't have electricity back then, so once this was added, cabling had to go on the surface. Power outlets and light switches had to go into surface mounting boxes. With our house, what we've done is place a couple of these in the workshop, then directly behind one of them added another power outlet inside the house that is flush mounted, so it looks a lot nicer. Who cares what they look like in a workshop? We'll be doing the same with the new power outlet for the office, with a cable run from the other power outlets and the carport workshop side being used for a pond pump and an electric gate. The approximate position of the outdoor outlet will be on this wall here. So we can plug that's a little transformer for that pond pump. There'll be something similar to that for the gate, which is all low voltage out there. So we need to get an idea of where this location is, because we don't want to put the outlet right on the stud. We then measure up the location of the studs relative to the corner of the wall. We decided to put the new power outlet right next to one of the studs. We mark the hole for the power outlet using a D bracket, which is normally what is used to mount them on thinner walls, but in this case we'll be just screwing it directly to the wall. Then we cut the hole out using our handy little new saw. Then use a drill to take out the corners where the saw doesn't reach. You'll see in there that there's the stud. We've got that pretty well dead on, I'd say. We then go ahead and wire the power outlet up and screw it in place. Nice! I then install a reclaimed surface mounting box on the other side of the wall. Both of these simply screw onto the tongue and groove boards. To run a cable across to the other outlets, we need to drill a hole in the bottom plate of the wall. This way it can be run under the house. We're doing this because there's more than likely to be sheeting put on the wall at a later date, and we wouldn't want to have to rewire everything to do this. One end of a power cable is fed up through this hole and into the surface mounting box. There just happened to be a hole in the right place in the surface mounting box because it has been used before. The cable is then run under the floor and up through an existing hole. Then a hole needs to be knocked out of the surface mounting box for the cable to fit. The cable is then connected to the outlet, with the mains power turned off, of course. Otherwise it would be shocking. Sorry, that was shocking, wasn't it? Once this is all done, the outlets can be screwed back onto their boxes. Then we can get on and connect up the other end. But before we do this, we need to remove the outlet from the walk-in robe. Electrically, this is fine, but cosmetically, it's a bit daggy, so ideal for our workshop. You can't have anything too clean and nice in a workshop. And we want all the power outlets in the house to be new and matching.
Don't know what that's going into. It's not cooperating all that well. Nothing is ever as easy as you'd like. Just screwing some screws into a piece of wood would be a straightforward thing. Not in this case. It's just turning now. It doesn't want to go in, doesn't want to come out. Doesn't want to tighten up, just wants to sit in the middle somewhere. Going on with it. Screws can be a nightmare sometimes. Go on, you beast. I don't want to break the power point, but it's not cooperating. I don't know what it's attached to. I can't see anything. I have to pull it off the other side and see what's going on.
On checking the other side, it appears that when I installed the inside outlet some years ago, I cut the hole in the wall too big, so one screw is in the timber, but the other is in one of those metal D-brackets fitted underneath the surface mounting block on this side, and somehow the screw has become stripped, which is why it won't come out.
That's the culprit.
Had to pull it really hard to get it to bite into some thread to get it out. To install the outlet, we then strip the cables back, then connect and install the daggy old power outlet in the workshop. As mentioned before, this outlet is for the pond pump, so we plug its transformer in and away we go. Next we need to finish wiring up the lighting. We've already run the lighting cable in the ceilings and the walls when we installed them, and have since fitted light switches and temporary light fittings. Firstly, we need to remove the temporary fitting. The final fitting can be screwed directly to the ceiling because it's MDF and the screws hold in this pretty well, unlike Gyprock. Wiring these fittings up is a bit fiddly because they have these tiny little screws that can fall on the floor and disappear, never to be seen again.
See if she works. It does. It's a nice warm bulb, that one.
We then fit the glass cover and we're done.
Here we go.
Same goes for the light in the walk-in robe, although here there is no hollow wall, so we need to put something over that wire. We have used the smallest surface mounting box we could find. I firstly tried a length of leftover scotia, which does have a bit of a gap in behind it. My thinking was this would fit neatly in the corner, and if painted the same colour as the wall would hardly be seen, but getting the wire to fit in there just wasn't enough room.
Oh, I've tucked these wires down because they just won't sit flat on their own, but that piece of wood still won't fit over them, so it's just not enough gap. I need to look at something else. Right, I've got a piece of moulding I bought from the hardware shop, and I sort of routed in the back there, although it looks more like termites have been chewing at it, but it's pretty hard to route that without the right gear, and I don't have it. And I've notched it out so it will fit on the wire. It does fit. Well, I had it fitting. A bit of wire there jams into it, but it does fit, trust me. There we go.
This moulding is similar to others found around the original house and has a profile that allows more room to be routed in the back for that cabling.
We'll work with a braiding gun. Just got to be careful not to hit the wire with it, that's all. And not push that in. Use these little tiny braids. Don't seem to be going in. Holding the metal. Light still works, it can shorten anything out.
Because of the angle we had to put the brads in to avoid the cable and that hard wood, some of the heads are sticking out a little bit, so we need to punch them in so we can gap fill them and then paint over them.
Oh, I managed to split it now. Right, zapped anything?
We then fill in all those brad holes. Because that piece of moulding lines up with a groove in the wall and has gaps around it, we need to use the liquid gap filler, which we then need to clean up with a damp cloth and a putty knife so it all looks nice and neat once it's painted. We then paint this with a coat of the wall colour so that the moulding blends into that corner nicely. Well, that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll be fitting a rim lock to one of the doors.